Hey, fellow astronauts, it's a me, Mario. Today we're gonna talk about Shackleton base once again, and our focus is gonna be the Space Robotics Corp. Now, Space Robotics is a good corp. I think it's generally known in my group and in other groups as a very well-rounded corp. It's reliable, it works in pretty much every game. It has a particular feature on its cards that we're gonna talk about that makes it very interesting and play very differently from game to game. Generally speaking and broadly speaking, this is a corp about automatizing all the process on the Shackleton base crater. So we're gonna try to get our robots do our work for us. How does it work? We have these tiles. These are all the same, so it's not like in the pesky, what was the name? The research. No, it's not here. The one about samples. This one has always the same nine little tiles out. Depending on the number of players, there's a certain number of them. I believe it's one less the number of players. So in four players, it's like three. In three, it's two, and in two, it's one. Not sure. I think it's that. It's pretty rare to run out of them anyway, but they are limited in some way. And they have three levels. There's a level one. Oh, by the way, you get them with the corp action. So the corp action is get one of these tile, and the corp um, resource is robots. So you simply get the robots and place them close to your board. And what do you use them for? You use them to connect them to this kind of tiles so that they activate them, right? So automatize them. So when a tile is connected, it has a particular effect. You can connect them to robots whenever you want, but you're required to have a robot immediately to get the immediate reward of the level 2 ones. So it's always good to have robots, and the value of the robot is value 1, let's call it. It's the same as 1 titanium or 1 rare earth. So you spend 1 resource, um, either 1 titanium, 1 rare earth, or 1 titanium and 5 coins, and get the appropriate level of the tiles. They work differently. Level 1s are an improvement of a certain action. So each time that you do a certain action, you are gonna gain something. So each time you build, you get more rep. Each time you place a panel on the crater, you gain 2 coins. Each time you go to the lunar gateway, you get 2 coins. The level 2 instead gives you something immediately if you are able to connect it to a robot straight up. And then the same resource each time that you get an income. So 3 times in a game, and this time, Selenium Research, that's the name of the other corp. And this time it really matters the income because all 3 of these incomes are relevant even on the 3rd round. So it's not like a titanium income or a rare earth income. Like 2 steps on the rep track are very important at the end of the game too. 1 extra astronaut can be quite relevant at the end of the game too, and 3 coins are again relevant for the maintenance phase. So basically, if you get them on round 1, you're gonna get what they give you 4 times in a game, which is pretty strong considering that you have to spend just 1 rare earth and 1 robot. So you gain 4 value out of 2 value pretty much, which is again way better than what the Selenium Research Corp will give you. And the last one, it's pretty costly. It costs about 2.5 value worth of resources, but you get strong scoring possibilities, which is pretty good. The milestone are again pretty linear. This time is just 2, 3, or 4 activated tiles, which I think is something you can do. I think 2 is pretty much something you can do in every game, but 3 and 4 they can work pretty often, I would say. They have wildly different values depending on what else is in the game. For example, this one is very strong when you have ways to get rare earth, but not ways to spend it. For example, if none of Skywatch or Mining Mars Corps are in the game, it's way easier to justify putting down a lot of extra panels, spending rare earth on it. It also works pretty well if you have a corps that wants you to spread out and build quite a bit. They could be to Mars, they could be the Greenhouse Corp. So this one varies a lot. This one is often very useful, but depending on the game, this one can be stronger. Just because if you want to build a lot, you might need to place down a lot of extra panels anyway. And the value is very similar, but I would say the two coins are easier to spend appropriately, especially in the early game. Of course, rep is also very strong at the start of the game, but this one might be better. This one, though, is my pick for the best level 1 to get on round 1, just because this action is just pretty good, especially at low player counts. At low player counts, you don't really gain that much by placing astronauts on the side of the crater, unfortunately. So at 4, I think this game shines, and this one is just another option. But in 2 players, for example, this action is very strong. It gives you basically the astronaut immediately instead of at the end of the round, which might be relevant for the workshops. It gives you 3 coins regardless of the kind of astronaut you place there, and you get also 1 corp action, which can be pretty strong. So I think that 2 coins more makes it very strong. So you can expect to take something like even 5 action on the Lunar Gateway if you get this tile, just because it's so convenient that you can go for it and a lot of cards thanks to the extra coins. So all 3 are strong. Depending on the game, they may fluctuate quite a bit. This one is, in my opinion, the most reliable one, especially at player counts different than 4. These 3 are all pretty decent. I would say that this one is very risky because to be able to accommodate a lot of astronauts, you need a lot of building anyway. And if you have a lot of building anyway, you probably can get astronauts from around the crater in some way. It's again better, probably at lower player counts, but I would say that these 2 are um, way more powerful in general. They are both pretty strong, depending on your position at the table and on what you're doing. You might choose one or the other. Rarely you're gonna go for this one, but I would say that again, these 2 are very reliable, very strong. So you should go for them quite often. And out of these 3, this one is normally the most powerful. Like regardless of what else you're doing, I think on the last round, if you can secure this milestone, you should always get this one. Maybe you got one of the income ones on the round before the 3rd one. But this one is just reliable strong. It's normally 8, 10 points, which is pretty strong. This one is normally worth something like 6 or 8 points, depending on how much you invested into it. But let's say that investing after 4 is not amazing, so you will pretty much never max it up to 12. While with this one, you can actually, even doing something else, max it up to 12 points. This one is the one that is the least reliable. Like to get to 12 points, you need 18 structure down, which would be 2 labs, which is already 6, and maybe all 4 of these to get to 10. And yeah, it's a lot. I don't think this one is easy to max in any way, while this one might be easy. And this one normally nets you less points. Again, depending on what else you're doing. But this one is normally the least valuable one. So out of the first 3, I would say that the most reliable one is this one, but the other 2 can work. Out of the level 2, you should always try to go for these 2. And out of the level 3, normally you go for this one, sometimes for this one, very rarely for this one. It all depends, of course. Why does this corp work so well when I had a lot of problems with Selenium research? That's because this one is, again, reliable. Like, robots are reliable. If there's something you should bring home from this video is that it's reliable. They always cost, like, this research plus 1 robot to get the level 1s. the level 2 or with this one plus this one. You can count on getting one unless everybody else already got it pretty much. It's the only case in which they can run out. So you can really plan around them in a better way. And I also think they're more powerful. So it's a win-win on my book. This faction is just overall pretty strong. So I would say that that's it for the faction itself, but let's talk about what the robots card do. They are very special because they have 5 cards that give you this little gear, which is unlimited. So it's very rare to get this unlimited action. It might be only Space Robotics, but I think there's one other corp that has an unlimited action. Don't remember right now, but I should check. I should have double checked before this video, but I didn't. Um, so normally the corp actions on cards are like this one. You can use them at most once per round. They are normally very powerful, so that's why. But the Space Robotics, well, you have robots and you can use them as many times as you want, as long as you get enough corp actions. And they are very strong, provided that you can play the cost. So these three work in very similar ways. You spend a robot and you can build a specific kind of structure. Of course, you need to pay the cost. So again, what are you saving if that's all they do? It's because with space robotics, you really are gonna hammer this line most of the time. If you get these cards, this line is the one that is used the least in the early game normally, and the blue astronauts are the least desirable ones out of the 3 kind that you can go for at the start of the game. The most desirable ones are the red and yellow, of course, because they will let you build an engine when you don't have an engine yet and you're not high on the reputation track. You're very limited in using this one. But using one action out of 3 to build instead of using your main action is very strong, of course. So all these 3, even though they do limit you, and out of them, my favorite one is this one, of course, just because it's easier to accumulate a lot of titanium and then go for many little structures. Also, this one is usable up to 5 times per game, while the other 2, you can use them at most 3 times per game. And also, it's very hard to properly make a good use of all 3 workshops. I did it. It can work. And it's also very hard to put down 3 labs just because they cost quite a lot. So that's why I don't love these 2 as much as I love this one. But still, this one is very strong. So don't underestimate them. They can all be pretty strong. They come with a free resource, these 2. So yeah. Just keep in mind that probably you won't be able to spam out the blue tokens because you won't be building here, but you will be building thanks to your cards. But out of them, by far, the most powerful one is this one. So buying a card is a very crowded slot throughout the whole game. People are gonna pile up here their red astronauts and they want to use this action a lot. And being able to go for buy a card using a single action that you can even do on the Lunar Gateway, which conveniently enough gives you the coins that you might need to purchase a card, is incredibly good. So this one is, in my opinion, a very, 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 very strong card. It's my first pick out of this faction by far, and it gives you a strong edge towards your opponent because you have a different way to buy cards and they have to resort to the main one on the main board. So just keep in mind that this one is very strong, but something that you should also keep in mind is that you need blue astronauts when you're going for these ones because you need robots. You really need robots to use them properly. The last one of this kind is this one, which is also pretty insane. So basically, here you can convert your robot economy. So the robot you've been saving up because of maybe this card or just in general you've been able to get quite a bit of robots into other resources. So you can have a pivot that you can do at any time and it can give you repeatedly in a single action a lot of resources from the other factions. That means that since you can do it as many times as you want, if you go here, you can immediately gain 3 resources of each of the other 2 corps, which is insane because remember that one of the main ways to get corp resources other than placing astronauts on the side of the crater is using the corp action on a reputation track, which just gives you the resource on a token that's on the board. Keep in mind that this one you can do it only once per turn. So if you're doing this, you can at most get 1 resource of that kind. With this card, you can immediately get as many as 3, which is quite a lot. So this one is, of course, versatile, as it says. So all these 5 cards are the core of core robotics, and it's what makes it very strong when you have robots. So when a space robotics player has one of these cards and a lot of robots, you have to really be careful. They can do a lot of nasty stuff. Speaking of which, this one is incredible for the reason I've just explained. You need quite a bit of robots, and this one gives you 3 in a single action, conveniently just before you could do one of these if you're taking the 3 corp actions that you can do on the main board. So this one is also very strong at enabling the other strong cards of the corp. This one is insane if you just want to get a milestone and don't get any card from Space Robotics. Maybe you're more invested in another corp. You don't have time to think too much about this one. You can just get this one and get 4 tiles. You never bother about getting robots. You just immediately gain a robot each time that you buy a tile. So you can just get the milestone, have all your tiles work for you without ever stopping too much and caring about other robots. Or, of course, it will let you get a lot of tiles while saving up robots for the other cards. So either way, this one is also fantastic. This one is probably the one that I like the least, but take a look in the bottom right corner. It's 5 points, and it's actually 6 points because you gain a robot and you immediately gain a rep step, which is worth 1 point. So this one is worth just by itself. The power is nothing to write home about, but of course it works really well with this one once again. But it also works with the general need of getting a lot of robots to have the cards works. The card of this faction works. So this one is just very good at generating points. Lastly, there's this one, which it's a bit more complicated. This one can change the overall balance of the game for everyone at the table, because if you're saving up a few robots, you can actually have the energy go up so fast that players won't be able to place down new panels. And that can actually change the texture of the game for everyone at the table. So be careful. This one is not capped. A lot of the other cards that do a similar thing for the other corps are capped. Like you spend X, you gain X and 2, 3, 1 energy. This one is not capped. So be careful. It can really change the overall balance for everyone at the table. I wouldn't say it's particularly powerful though. So it's probably the least powerful out of these ones. Again, these 2 might be situational, but if you can use them, you're going to be very, very, very happy. So I would say that just about wraps it up for this corp. It's just an overall easy corp. Oh, I had Selenium research all the time over here. And I set it up just because I needed to make examples and then I forgot about it. Yeah. I'm so bad at making YouTube videos. But just keep in mind what I just said. So, what do you want to do when the space robotics is in the game? You want to try to go for the strong tiles and change your overall economy accordingly. And you want to have a lot of robots to power up powerful cards and use a lot the blue astronauts to go for the 3 different actions. Slash, you want to go a lot to the lunar gateway because you have this one and you have ways to build from the lunar gateway if you have robots. So I would say that just about sums it up what you should do with space robotics. It's a very strong faction, a bit linear, but still quite interesting. So keep in mind next time you play it. All right, that's all for today. Mario's out. Bye bye.